What's going on, everybody, man? Obviously, it's Tuesday night. We've had a little bit of time to decompress, a whole 48 hours decompress from that ugly L we took to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday. But I got my guys in the locker room with me today, James Mallory and Mazinger. We're going to talk about everything from the rotating offensive lineman, once again, performance of Devin Singletary, the surprise and baffling deactivation of Zack Moss. Where do we go from here? And more Levi hate. We still hating on Levi even after the performance he had. But we'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to break it all down. This is, if you don't know, now you know. Nothing personal, it's just Bills. Fellas, what's going on? My man James Mallory in the house, Evan Zinger. What do you find fellas up to tonight?
Nothing too much, man. Ready to talk some Bills talk. Let's get it, man. Let's get it.
Ditto to him.
Yeah, that's right. I like to point out, acknowledging where James is at. I love it. It's been you paying attention. I love it, man. My man Joe Sorsey in the house. Joe, what is going on? My man Jumping Joe. Cindy Martini Jackson, what's going on? How you guys? Welcome to the. Remember, guys, it's nothing personal, just Bills. But tonight we got some things we got to talk about. A lot of things that I got to get off my chest about this Bills game that we took an L to the Pittsburgh Steelers, a game that I thought we should have won. I think we had won in the first half. Blew a lot of opportunities, and we took an L. I mean, it's just. You could just feel the city kind of crushed and depressed like after this, and I want to talk about that tonight too, about how people react to a loss, because I mean we kind of got to get together a little bit here, but let's get to it. First, James, I'm gonna start with you. The Bills offense looked really, really bad. It did not look good at all. Josh Allen looked off all game. How much are you contributing this to? The lack of preseason reps, the as I call it, being overcautious. What you thinking of that?
Yeah, I think that got a lot to do with it. I think, being a little overcautious, which, I mean, I don't blame him for that. I mean, you got a $250 million quarterback. You got a top 3 wide receiver in Diggs, and you got all these weapons, man. You don't want to see anybody go down in the preseason, but at the same time, you do need those live game reps to be able to, prepare for the season. So when that, when that does happen, the result of it is maybe coming out slow. I don't think anything that happened on Sunday is not something that can be fixed. I think it's, something that, it's a reality check. They were flying high and, based off of last season, not just the players, but even the fans, everybody flying high and, a reality check was force-fed humble pie. So you got to go back to the drawing board and, get back in the lab, and you just got to work. Josh Allen looked like he never was really comfortable. Couldn't really set his feet and really, analyze things and make the throws that we're used to seeing Josh make. So they never really were in the groove. Even when they were moving the ball, it just never felt like they were in the groove. So I'm expecting that to change as soon as this Sunday.
F, man, what you got? What you feel, man? Tell me how the Canadian side of Bills Mafia feels.
Well, I do have to say that I want to stack this game more towards the side of the offense not necessarily playing bad, but just the Steelers playing absolutely like dominant on the defensive side. Like I think although having said that, I think the main reason why the Bills actually lost this game was probably their inability to get a turnover on defense. And even though the defense overall did play really good, if you look at the past 2 years when they played, like Josh didn't play much worse or much better even the last 2 years they played, but the defense always got like a key turnover. Like last year's game, the offense was just like terrible in the first half, and then Taron Johnson got that pick six. As people don't really talk about much, but 2 years ago, when they beat the Steelers against good old Duck Hodges, they barely won that game, and the defense got 4 freaking interceptions. So it's if you can't get just one turnover, it's going to hurt you against a team like the Steelers, and I think that is partially to it. We're going to talk about some issues with personnel further or later, I know, but for now, that's all I want to mention.
Yeah, we're definitely getting that personnel issue because I got a real big bone. I have a bad bone to pick with Brian Dable and Sean McDermott. I actually got a couple bones to pick with them. But before we go too far, I mean, of course, Josh Allen was uncomfortable. Look at the number of pressures that we had in that game against him. There's no quarterback in the league that can play. I mean, that can play behind the offensive line that played that poorly in a game. And I'm surprising that we still had a chance to win this game just because Pittsburgh offense was just as bad as ours. So kudos to honestly both defenses. Both defenses really gave the other offense fits and problems. But look at the stats that NFL and CBS released today. Most pressures by a pass rusher in week 1. Cameron Hayward, number 1 in the league with 12. Melvin Gringham and TJ Watt both tied at number 3 with 8. That's a total of 28 pressures between just those 3 players alone. That's awful. That's really bad. And I contribute that straight to the preseason and lack of reps and lacking continuity. Now I'll give Deion Dawkins a pass because I've been saying I do feel like he's battling back and trying to get in shape. It's probably going to take him about 2 to 3 weeks to get in actual football shape here.
Yeah, for sure.
But 28 pressures between Melvin Ingram, TJ Watt, and Hayward is just ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that those guys aren't elite players. I mean, Melvin Ingram is no longer elite, but those other 2 are elite at their positions. I get it. But that's like a varsity football team versus a JV team at that point in time. You can't do that. And obviously the missed opportunities with the pass to Sanders. I don't understand the deactivation of Zack Moss. I'm going to touch on that tonight because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not happy with it. And the Bills have a history of doing this, and I'm going to break that history down. But what the hell happened with the offensive line? Evan, I'm going to come to you first, man.
Well, I've been having this joke ever since they extended him, to be honest with you. And this is going back all the way to the Kansas City game where I sort of had not even a bone with Feliciano, but to the people who sort of defend him. And they always talk about how much they like Feliciano because he sticks up for Josh and he defends him. Well, I always told people the reason why he defends him and sticks up for him like that is because that single play you point to, Feliciano gave up the sack that led to Okafor. I think it was Okafor roughing him. And the other thing that I like to mention is always on Twitch, you see Josh and Feliciano playing Warzone together. So is him being good at Warzone worth $6 million a year? No. But he was definitely the weak link on that offense. The play from the interior line in general, pass blocking wise, just wasn't very good, and it also didn't allow when your guard play doesn't hold up, it doesn't allow for much leniency for the tackles either. Like for example, the sack or the TJ Watt sack where he forced the fumble. Even on that play, it seemed like Darrell Williams did his job. Like to a normal eye, it looked like he got beat, but he was trying to push TJ Watt around and was expecting Josh to step up into the pocket. But because it was either Ford or Butker on that play got pushed back, he couldn't afford to like keep him like that, and Josh had to panic, run backwards, and Watt caught up with him and forced a fumble. So thank you, Backbone. I'm sorry.
You never know what you're gonna get on this show, man.
Is my setting behind me not masculine enough for you?
That was the flowers that the Steelers put on Josh Allen's grave.
Yeah.
Pass rush. Pretty bad, dude.
But yeah, and then of course, like you said with Dawkins, I'm willing to give him a bit of a break, even if let's say Dawkins is fully recovered from like COVID. He's in proper game shape. He's got his weight all back to where it needs to be. He still didn't get those in-game practice reps in the preseason with the team. If there are certain players I do think need reps in preseason, I think it's the offensive line, if anyone.
Now, James, and Evans just made a good point about the reps. How important are those reps, and how long do you think it's going to take Dawkins to get back to where he is? And before you answer that, hey guys, I do see your comments on my personal Facebook page where the show is also live on. Unfortunately, it does not. Your comments will not stream to the show here, but I am acknowledging Marcus Martin, my guy Ray Cruz. I see all you guys' comments, so I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll get to those as well. So I'll be checking my phone for that. But James, I want to talk about those reps, man.
Man, those reps are everything. That's when you develop the chemistry. That's when you get in the feel of it. You can't. Football is so unique. Basketball, you can go out there and you can get 3-on-3. You can kind of stay in that kind of rhythm, that game type of form. Football, training camp is everything. You can't fake playing football. You can't go out there and just, hey, let me go get some friends and let's get some 5-on-5 offensive line working. That's just not realistic, so training camp is extremely important for just the timing, your chemistry, just being in shape, kick stepping 55 times a game, drive blocking 20 times a game in regards to the running game. To be real with you, I don't think you'll see the Dion Dawkins we're used to seeing until after the bye week. He's going to need those reps the next few games. Practices, and then he's going to need that recovery time for his body, that bye week. After the bye week, it'll seem like you see a whole new man. It's my opinion. I may be wrong. Not saying he won't be a good player until then, but I think we won't see the Dion Dawkins we're used to until probably after the bye week. So I think those reps are extremely important. He missed 2 weeks of camp?
Yeah. He missed. Yeah. I missed all of it. He didn't. Then he tested positive. Then I believe he missed the multiple weeks. Then he got sick from what he said. And I think he missed pretty much all camp. I think his first reps came the week of the Bears preseason game, I believe.
Was it Bears or Packers?
Yeah. So, it's gonna take a little time. And should they have possibly started Spencer Brown instead until he gets on his feet? I guess that's a question that we really should ask. No.
I think, I think when people say that, I think that's kind of foolish. You want a guy like that. He's one of the better left tackles in the NFL. You kind of want to let him be able to play through that or play into game shape. Not play through like it's an injury, but you get what I'm saying. Kind of play in the shape and get his rhythm. You don't want to sit him out and things like that. You're just prolonging the process. Just keep him in there. Let him get. You can kind of monitor if he's just that awful. Then obviously you got to move forward with somebody else. But I don't think that's the case. I think this game was the best case scenario for Buffalo because what happened is now you get your butt kicked week 1. You lose the game. Now you can go back to the drawing board. You got to really, really understand what it is you got to fix. Just imagine if we played cupcake teams for 4 games and this happened week 5. But Bills fans really be pressing the panic button like, oh, what the heck is going on? Now we got time to fix this and see what exactly our weaknesses are as a unit with that offensive line and be able to address it. Do I think they're good enough to win with? Absolutely. Do I think they can win the Super Bowl with this offensive line? Absolutely. You can do a lot worse than John Feliciano. You can do a lot worse than Cody Ford. You can do a lot worse than Mitch Morris and so on. I think that's a really strong unit. Is it the best unit? No. Is it a strong unit? Absolutely. I think we're fortunate to have those guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the biggest issues that we have at this offensive line is, and I read this today where Sean McDermott touched on it, we're rotating Cody Ford again. You know, I'm so over the rotating of Cody Ford. At this point, either he's playing or he isn't playing. If he can't play and you have to rotate him, then sit him on the bench and just don't play him. It's as simple as that at this point in time. Move on, trade him, do whatever you got to do. But the fact that we're bringing Ike Bodiger in to rotate with him, the fact that we brought up Forrest Lamb, the fact that we rotate him his entire rookie year, which I thought was a massive mistake and set him back tremendously with Ty Nsekhe at right tackle, we've come to this point now. We're in year 3. We're in year 3, and he doesn't have a natural position now. He's probably lacking confidence at this point in time because we really don't know. And also he's just in no man's land. I don't get it. This isn't college. You know, if at this point, if you felt you need to do that, then maybe we should have invested in that guard spot. Like really invested something. Yeah. I mean, Evan, you've talked about Feliciano. But what about Ford?
Honestly, Ford, I thought he played all right Sunday, but as part of like a bigger problem, like what's that saying? You're trying to jam like a square peg into a round hole or whatever.
Yeah.
At this point with Ford, it's like they're trying to jam a trapezoid into a triangular hole or something like that. I feel like at this point, if they're buying in too much to sort of the sunk cost of the draft pick they spent on him, because if it's his 3rd year and you still don't have a set position for him, that's a problem of evaluation on you. And honestly, it's not as much on him. Of course, it's on him to perform to the best of his ability when he plays at a certain position, but it's going to be hard for a guy to do that if you don't stick him at one place and say, hey, get better there. And you know what? Even if you need to bring in someone later to shuffle with them, as much as I wouldn't agree with that, at least do that. Don't move him and then keep shuffling him.
No, I agree. I agree. I just kind of don't understand it, and I'm just lost of how we're in year 3 and we're still doing this. And by the way, guys, if you're watching the show, please like and share. If you see the like button to your right hand top, that's for Facebook. So like and share it to your personal pages so people who will find about the show. This is like the 4th episode. And if you're on YouTube watching, please like and subscribe to the CFR YouTube page.
And ring that bell icon.
Ring that bell icon. Yes. It's up there. It's to the right as well. Yes, ring the bell.
I've seen too many YouTube videos to avoid that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why you're here, man. You remind me of things and stuff like that. But no, I just don't understand how we get to this point 3 years later and we're still rotating. And I'm done with the Cody Ford experiment now. And I'm not saying he's not going to be good. Maybe he does go and be Wyatt Teller. And every time we rotate him or we do something in this fashion, we're going to be reminded that Wyatt Teller is now an all-pro guard with the Browns. And we had him in our system and organization, and we pretty much gave him away for peanuts for whatever reason, because it wasn't contractual. There was no real reason to ever trade Wyatt Teller to the Browns besides it feels like he got in somebody's doghouse. And yes, Evan, you're right. That means that we possibly have an evaluation problem at that position. No GM is. Go ahead.
Sorry. And yeah, like I was saying, like they're buying in too much to the sunk cost. Like you can cut bait whenever you want to. The only like one of the like a lot of people gave him crap for it a few years ago, but you know, let's even pretend that Kyler Murray turned out to be trash and Rosen went to a different team and was actually like great or something like that. I still applaud the move for Arizona to trade away Rosen, even after they picked him with that first pick and those extra picks to trade up and get him, because they realized, hey, look, there's a better player available there. It doesn't matter that we just spent a first-round pick on this guy. Let's go pick the other guy that we want. Whereas like the Bills, you know, it won't be like a first-round pick kind of thing, but it's like, yeah, we picked Cody in the 2nd round 2 years ago, but there's another guy in the 2nd round this year that looks pretty good. So let's take him. it doesn't necessarily have to be, it doesn't have to be just the one scenario.
No, I agree. James, you got anything on Cody Ford situation?
Yeah. What's the number? Would they only rotate it? Ike in what, 2 series? 1 or 2?
It was about 10. I think I played about 10 plays. It wasn't much. I think Cody played like 75 plays or something like that, and I played 10.
Those are the exact numbers, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I retain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
if it was more 50-50, I would have an issue with it. I don't. Just kind of sprinkle Ike in. I don't really have too much of issue with it. I think Cody Ford is going to just get progressively better during the year. I think he's going to end up being a really, really solid guard for us. That's just my opinion. I've been saying that for a while now. I think he's going to do well. I just think they just need to let him play, and just stop, messing with it. Maybe they'll do it again this game, but just let him rock out and let him play and see where the chips fall and see what we got to do at the end of the season. Do you got to trade him? Do you got to draft somebody else or what? But I think he is at least the answer for this season and next season at that right guard spot.
I'm going to hold on here. I got a message here. Yeah, I'm going to read off some of my Facebook comments here from my personal page because unfortunately they're not coming through. Well, here we go. Ray Cruz came through and he said apples. Trailer traded for a 6 or 7 round pick. Apples to oranges. That's right. My man Marcus Martin, TC Prize, stand up, says Dog will be fine. And also Feliciano was the weakest link Sunday. And Cindy Martini Jackson says exactly. I think she was agreeing with the offensive line. And Rocco Ferraro makes a good point, says, let's just all admit, Cody Ford is a bust. I hate to say it, but it's true. We traded Wyatt Teller, an all-pro, and Quentin Spain is also kind of a Pro Bowl, sort of close to a Pro Bowl level.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a bust. I wouldn't go there. I think that's a little.
Well, I mean, but you know what? Because I think more or less because we moved up in the second round to get him, and the people that we left on the board, specifically, I would say DK Metcalf, people are going to call him a bust. I mean, and you don't get me wrong, you can do that with a lot of players, but there was super high expectations for Cody Ford coming to Buffalo.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a bust. A bust is somebody who I think, my definition of a bust, I mean, is somebody that you draft, high expectations, they give you little to nothing. Aaron Maven, that's a bust. JP Lossman, that's a bust. McCargo, that's a bust.
John McCargo.
Oh, there's a name.
Those dudes gave you nothing. I mean, Cody Ford has given us a lot of starts here, and it's not like he's playing terrible. Right. I think that's an emotional opinion. I don't think he's a bust. Is he maybe a disappointment? Is he kind of disappointing right now? Yes, but a bust? No, I don't think that's fair to call him a bust.
No, that's a fair assessment. Like I said, I'm not going to knock your assessment on there. I just think that when it comes to Buffalo, sometimes if he doesn't step his game up, he's going to need it. Buffalo's going to have to move on, and he's going to need to change the scenery. And sometimes that works best. I mean, as we say, it looks like Wyatt Teller and Ray Cruz brings the old name up too, Gabe Northern. I would not say that to Gabe's face. Gabe is still huge. I'm just saying. But one of the things I want to talk about tonight before we get to our bad takes of the week, Zack Moss was deactivated. It seemed to be at around 11:30, 11:45 in the morning. Inactives came out. It shocked the hell out of me. It shocked the hell out of everybody. Didn't really understand it. Still don't understand it. And I think we paid dear. I think we paid dearly for it because Singletary was gashing the Steelers, and I can only think if we had 2 backs out there gashing, we'd have been a lot better. The Bills have a history of doing this. Sean McDermott specifically has a history of doing this. So when asked in the press conference, they asked Zach first, was he injured? And there was a tweet that was deleted that he said 100%. Now, I don't know if that was attributed to the Bills or what. It could have been saying 100% ready to go. I'm not saying that's what it was, but it was deleted. But then he did release a statement saying that, hey, he can only control the controllables. And Sean McDermott's rebuttal when asked about it was, it's about numbers, it's just about numbers. I don't know what the hell that means. I have not a clue of what it's about numbers means.
The numbers, McDermott, what do they mean?
Right. Are these the same numbers that we used with Quentin Spain that led him to get out of Buffalo? Is this the same numbers that we used with benching Isaiah McKenzie, deactivate him last year versus the Titans, and go on Andre Roberts and him fumbling and dropping balls and all those type of things. It's the same thing when we went to the Chiefs that we decided to make a statement and we activated Brian Cox Jr. and Justin Zimmer. Now, Zimmer has worked out to a point, but this is a history of some bad decisions. And I think this one may be one of the all-time worst. Like, what are you thinking? What kind of confidence, what game are you playing to go with Matt Breida, who has shown us absolutely nothing in preseason? James, you're the running back in the room. Talk to me.
I was really, really shocked when I heard that Zack Moss was not going to be active. Actually, my brother told me. He called me like, dude, you see Zack Moss? I'm like, what? You know, I was really surprised by that. But when I kind of looked into it, I wasn't. Because with Breida, if you had maybe some type of small package in for him, I mean, maybe. I mean, then if you thought about, you went into then the game with a plan of throwing the ball 50-plus times because you know that's a weakness of theirs is their pass defense. Is saying, okay, well, I think we can get by with only using Singletary and Breida. And this isn't a Zack Moss game. That can kind of make sense to me. But I think what probably happened is they got into the game, they got punched in the mouth a little bit, and then they went into old crap mode. And then now we look at it like, oh, maybe we should have had Zack Moss active. But, you know, it was a shocker. Kind of get it, kind of don't. I don't think it would have affected the game either way, in my opinion.
I mean, personally, I just think that it was just a bad move. I mean, you talk about continuity, and I get it, but to me, it made no sense to me. And yeah, Bray Cruz bring a good point saying, hey, was Moss inactive due to Breida being replaced special teams? I would certainly hope not. I would certainly hope that's not the call. But Evan, I mean, what's your thoughts on that, man? I mean, this is crazy.
Well, Jeremy, I got to disagree with you a lot based on your assessment of like saying like, oh, how great would it be if we had two running backs gashing the defense? My concern, because Singletary played great when he was running. He wasn't great as a receiver, but that's whatever. The bigger issue here was the fact that, two big issues. One, who they deactivated him for in the running back room, and two, how they used that one running back. And you're talking about Breida. I don't think they deactivated him for Breida. I think they deactivated him for Gilliam. And then they proceeded to not use Gilliam whatsoever. So that was what kind of confused me. And the fact is that Zack Moss, like, he's the best pass blocking running back that the Bills have. And that's the biggest thing that he could have contributed, especially with all the different pressure that the Steelers brought. Granted, of course, with running backs, part of the idea is that you don't use them to pick up blitzes, and I think the Steelers blitzed like once or something like that. Like it was
ridiculous. They didn't have to.
No, but even if you had like another or you're back there to just like help chip some players or start sort of like minor double teams, like that would have worked out much better than just having Gilliam on the sideline. Because yeah, he was only active for 4 snaps, and probably a couple of those snaps were down near the goal line, and they never got in. So, or except the Gabe Davis touchdown, but that was it. Like, I'm going to check the snap count here quick. Gilliam did play 23 snaps on special teams, but then on offense, he played 2. And they were to run block. So if it was I would take Moss's pass blocking ability significantly over whatever Gilliam or Breida can contribute to special teams. I'll say that much.
Well, you can't take Gilliam off, because like I said, Gilliam is, like you said, a huge special teams contributor, and really that's really your only natural fullback and kind of your emergency tight end if one of your 2 tight ends were to go down. So, I don't think he would deactivate for Gilliam, because I don't think there's a game this season where Gilliam will be deactivated at all. Maybe Tommy Sweeney, but I can't.
You're not a Sweeneyak?
No, well, no, I'm not. No, I don't even understand the point of not keeping Jacob Hollister over Sweeney either. Sweeney has done nothing in this league, And when we gave him opportunity, he struggled with it. And I understand he was out last year for COVID. Well, this is what I mean. These are the type of head-scratching decisions that every once in a while will show their head with McDermott and Bean, if Bean has any input in this. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You're going to deactivate your number 2 back. Now, what if Devin Singletary went down in that game? Now you're stuck with Breida and only Gilliam, technically. And
Breida, Taiwan Jones.
But we haven't given
Taiwan Jones is a running back in name.
Right. We haven't given Taiwan Jones a carry since 3 years ago he was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what we are doing. It doesn't make any sense. And the other kicker to this is I knew it wasn't an injury because if you know anything, if you follow Zack, you'll know that his agent flew in for this game, which all agents don't go to all games. Okay, if you think agents do, they don't. His family flew in for this game, and all his managers were going to this game. So that goes to show nobody knew this was coming. There was no reason to think otherwise either. But the excuse we get is it's just numbers. What the hell does that mean? What do you mean it's just numbers? Well, I can give you a number. You carry how many defensive linemen did we carry into this game, Ted?
Well, I think in the future, my opinion,
9.
I think it'll be another defensive. I don't think it'll affect the offensive numbers. I think it'll be another defensive lineman that'll be down when Zack Moss is active. So you'll probably see another one of those defensive linemen down next week. That's just my opinion. I think it'll be Zack Moss, Breida, Taiwan Jones, running back wise, and Singletary will all be up next game. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think they will. Gilliam, once again, you got to keep him there. He's a stud, special team stud. He could play fullback and tight end. Let me throw that in there. Was my brother teammate at Toledo, them Toledo Rockets. But yeah, so I think they'll do something like that. Maybe sit one of those D linemen because I think that rotation was a little crazy.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, and Evan has the numbers for the defensive rotation. But before we go too far, I actually want to stop and thank everybody that came out to the Mafia homecoming party this weekend. Now, if you guys didn't know, you guys been watching all the Cold Front shows and watching and following our platforms. We've been promoting the second annual Mafia homecoming party for almost a month and a half now. It was special guest hosted by Aaron Williams. We did a lot of things. We gave away a lot of items to a raffle. We ended up raising a lot of money for charity. We raised, I think, about $1,000 for Discover 716. We raised about $1,500 for through Elite Superfans for Harrison Phillips Playmakers charity. And we even gave away a 50-50 raffle with a whole lot of prizes. So it was just a great turnout. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. And we're going to be leaving all the pictures coming out in the next coming weeks. But once again, special thanks to Aaron Williams. Special thanks to Bill's Mafia Babes, Bill's Tie-Dye, Buffalo and Whack, Buffalo AF, all our sponsors, J Mano, Soho, and Dan Gambino from Codes for just throwing on a great event, and all the super fans that came out. Everybody had a really, really good time, I think. And it was just nice just being in the room with everybody once again. So I can't not wait to the third annual, which is next year. We're going to do this every year, and every year it's getting bigger and it's getting better. As you see by these pictures, it was a great, great time. A lot of great people out. Also, shout out to my guys, Jay Spence and Joe Miller from Buffalo Rumblings for coming out. So can't wait till next year. Thank you guys for coming out and donating everything you guys could. So back to football. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I disagree with the Zack Moss deactivation. I just didn't understand it. And I think things like that can really mess with your continuity. You know, like I said, sure. There's no reason for it. If you're not going to play him, then fine, don't play him. But there's no reason for him to be deactivated. I mean, do we have to keep 18,000 special teams players?
Well, the one thing that could have happened too, he could have had a really, really bad week of practice, man. If he is very possible, he could have had a bad week of practice, and it could have been a wake-up call because some guys kind of go through the motions. I mean, I'm not saying he is that guy. If he had a bad week of practice, sometimes you got to set the tone as a coach, as a staff. Like, listen, this is something that's going to be – I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm throwing it out there. If you had a bad week of practice, you're going through the motions. Sometimes you got to set the tone. Listen, I don't care if you're a third-round pick. I don't care if you're in the plans. If you're not going to take care of business in practice, you're not going to come out here and bust you behind every day. We're going to deactivate your ass. Excuse my French, but sometimes you got to set the tone, and maybe that could be the case. But I think week 2, you're gonna see a super, super motivated Zack Moss. That dude gonna be a problem running the ball this week.
I hope so, and I hope to see him in there. But yeah, I mean, some people make some good points. Let's get some points here. Ray Cruz says Gilliam botched on the block on that disastrous pass block, or pass back play by Allen. I mean, I still don't even know what that play was. That I don't even want to get into that play.
No, I wouldn't say it was a botch. He didn't botch. I don't think he botched it. They were overloaded on that side. It was a terrible call in that defensive front. They were overloaded.
We probably should have called timeout I'm thinking on that play, once we motioned McKenzie and Allen saw that the corner didn't go with him, we probably should have called timeout, right? Okay. So it was this numbers game there. Now that's real numbers, Sean.
Yeah.
Me personally, I would have called the timeout.
Right. Cody Wells says, do you think there was something internally going on with Zach on the team that maybe there's punishment? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean,
can't speculate on that either.
No, I get the work was like, I highly doubt that. Kenny Riggleman says, we don't need 6 wide receivers. I like Kumaro, but don't need him active if our top 5 receivers are healthy. Moss needs to be active and touch the ball. I do. I mean, I think sometimes too, running backs give defenses different looks. Maybe if you're gonna, and personally, I've been advocating since last year that we carry 3 actual running backs on this roster. I love teams that do that. I'm all for keeping Breida, Singletary, Moss, and Jones, because you can't take Jones off the game day roster because what he brings for special teams. But I'm okay with keeping 4 of them. Right. Yeah. I'm okay with keeping 4. There's not a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. But, we're keeping 10 defensive linemen on the roster. And in some games, I have to check to see our game day roster. But I don't know how many safeties we've kept. In the past, we've kept more safeties too. So, I'll have to see. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of it. It took me back to the Quentin Spain situation, and it didn't work in our favor. The Trent Murphy versus the Chiefs situation, it definitely didn't work in our favor. They ran the ball down our throats. And then the Quentin Spain situation, and it didn't work in our favor. And I just hope this doesn't end that way. But moving on, this is part of the show where we get to talk about bad takes. And before we go too much further, before we get to bad takes, I want to talk about how fans react to the Bills losing. And I thought I saw some disgusting things this week. I understand where a lot of us are fans, we're passionate, but there's certain things you just don't do. And for the first time in my life, I had to go to a game and sort of physically threaten another fan. So I'll tell you guys a little story. So there's this guy, he's no t-shirt, painted on. Two Bills fans sitting before him. Now he's directly in front of me. I'm in seat 1, row 7. He's in seat 1, row 6. All right. There's a family that's separated by 2 Bills fans between them, of a mother. You can tell by a mother, a daughter, a wife, and no son. I'm assuming that the daughter's probably the youngest. She's probably like maybe 19 to 20, 21, somewhere in that area. The son's probably like 25, 26. And the father and the mom. So this guy, first of all, the score's 3-0, or maybe it was 10-0 at this point. But he's antagonizing these people. Pittsburgh sucks. Go back to Pittsburgh. Your team sucks. Your quarterback sucks. Blah, 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 blah. The parents don't have to say nothing. Keeps doing it. The daughter says, hey, dude, just calm down. We're not even saying nothing. Now, mind you, this family is not even cheering loud. They're saying nothing. They're just sitting here watching the football game. And this guy continues to antagonize. Yes, he's a Bills fan. Continues to antagonize him. Finally, the father says something, and he's like, what are you going to do about it? So I don't know if this guy thought he's a tough guy because he's protected by 50,000 other Bills fans that are going to help him and back him up. And you got people laughing at it like it's funny. And it's not funny. It's a joke. You're a coward. So finally, the father says something, and the son says, I see the son mouthing to dad, like, hey, don't say anything. And I can read his lips, and he says, what are you going to do about it? We can't do anything about it. Just don't bother. Just leave it alone. And the guy keeps doing it. So finally, the guy does it again. So I politely, kindly tap the guy on his shoulder. He said, hey, man, what's going on? I said, listen, man, do me a favor. And I told him in a very nice manner. Stop messing with that family over there. They're not bothering you. They're trying to enjoy a football game that they paid probably $200 for the same ticket I paid, because that's how much a ticket was in that section. And they're not saying anything to you. I said, so do me a favor, stop bothering them. Because what's going to happen is that's going to start a fight. And what happens in a lot of states when there's a fight between multiple teams, they just kick both sections out. That section's gone, this section's gone. So I told him, I said, if I get kicked out because your mouth in a fight, you know what? You're going to deal with me afterwards, and you're not going to like it. I can almost guarantee you that. So I just want to talk about just people just doing things like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. Like, why are we doing that type of stuff? What's the point? I don't get it. Anything on that? I just
I'm waiting for you to be done. I'm like, oh, can I go on a rant too? No, but no, like I've seen the same, like, similar scenarios happen when I've been to games. Unfortunately, it's been too long because I'm Canadian, but yeah, it's like the fact when fans just diss other fans just due to the fact that they're wearing a different color shirt. Because that's all it basically is. It's like, why does that have to define you as a person? Like, I get, you're there and you're either a Bills fan or a Steelers fan or whoever you're a fan of for that particular day, but you don't need to insult that person, like, personally because they're a fan of another team. Like, insult their team or whatever, but you don't need to give them shit for just being them. It's like, like, I want to cheer for the Steelers because I'm from Pittsburgh or whatever. It doesn't mean I have a different set of morals and values as you.
Right. I mean, it's just crazy. So then after the Steelers kick, I've learned my lesson about traveling on Abbott Road, and that the closer you park to the stadium, and if you stay the entire game, the longer it's going to take you to get back to the highway.
Yeah,
which is one of the things that I hope that they fix in the next stadium build. So we parked a mile down Abbott Road, and we decided, I said, hey, let's walk, because when we get out, this will be closer to the highway. This is the truth, but hey, it's okay. A little exercise didn't hurt anybody. As I'm leaving, when Pittsburgh kicks the field goal to go up 23 to 10 at that point?
Yes, I believe so.
Or something like that. Maybe something like that. So wherever they went up by 10, I told my brother, I said, hey, let's leave. Let's get out of here. The reason I wanted to get out of here because obviously I had to go live that night at 9, and I wanted to beat traffic, and I was in Buffalo, so I had some more running around to do. As I'm walking up, there's a guy sitting in the stands, once again, that says,
welcome back.
This is the problem. And he looks right at me and he says, this is the problem. We have too many fair weather fans. Fair weather fans? Who's fair weather? So I look at the guy and I said, who's fair weather? Why are you leaving? I said, A, because this game is over. B, I'm going to beat traffic. C, I got to go live. And D, I really don't have to explain myself to you. Why do people think that they're like the fan police? You're a fair weather fan. What in the hell? Who the hell gave you the right to call somebody a fair weather fan? Maybe you're a fair weather fan. So because I don't want to stay throughout the game to see the clock tick 0, I'm a fair weather fan. Are you kidding me? Get out of here, man. I mean, I don't know. People are just nuts.
The gatekeeping of, like, the fandom has been pretty ridiculous ever since the Bills started winning again. Because I feel like there's also been a thing where you can't criticize a single thing that the Bills do, or else you're not a real fan. Like, there's like, there'd be times, like, I'm pretty active on the Bills subreddit over there. And yeah, I know. And I'm probably like the biggest villain of the whole place. Because I was like always the guy pointing out like, oh, whenever so and so made a bad play or something like that, and then people would be like, I know this sounds like I'm like just bitching and about like or being whiny or whatever, but just a story I want to tell.
Right, good.
But people would be like, oh, you're a hater of Josh Allen, and it's like, dude, he threw a pass over someone's head. That doesn't mean I personally hate the guy.
Right.
It's like, and then people are, saying like, or some of the other things I've seen are like, oh, the league is against the Bills. And meanwhile, what happened was they showed a highlight of the Hail Murray or something. It's like, that doesn't mean that.
Right. It doesn't mean that everybody hates the Bills.
Yeah.
Everybody has this motivation for the Bills to lose. Like, dude, like, get off your high horse, James. You got anything on that, man? The fans, man.
Yeah, I mean, they get carried away. It's a little ridiculous with some of them and how they carry themselves. We're all Bills fans. We are. But there's I can only speak for myself. There's it's a code I live by, morals, my ethics. I'm not going to disrespect nothing or nobody under no circumstances. And then they think it's okay because it's a football game or they're surrounded by a bunch of people. Everybody want to be a tough guy or everybody want to be disrespectful. It's not cool, especially it's football. You know what I'm saying? It's a sport at the end of the day we all fans of. So if there's somebody there is a Steelers fan or whatever team we're playing, if you talk a little trash and fun, laughing and joking, I'm cool with that. I mean, that makes for a healthy environment, a competitive environment. But when you start crossing that line and making somebody feel uncomfortable and threatening them, that's just way too much. Like, my friends and I, we talk trash. My best friend, he's a Steelers fan. I called to talk trash to him last year when we won, and he returned the favor this year. And, would I'm going to be a jerk to him because a football game, or would I go to a game and be a jerk to somebody because they have a Steelers Steelers jersey on? I think people just get a little carried away, man, and
right.
We have to remember our morals and our ethic. Well, and everybody was raised with the same morals and ethics, but disrespect to get your hiney kicked out here. So you got to be careful, man. A lot of these Bills fans, they are very disrespectful, until somebody touch that chin, and that straighten them right on out.
Yeah,
the favorite insults. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
My favorite insults that I like to use are the ones that like they're not really insults, but they're just like things that are sort of just weird to say. Like I remember I was in like a trash talk thread with the Steelers the other day, and I said like, oh, Najee Harris puts ice in his cereal and like stuff like that. Like it doesn't mean anything, but it's just I like it when you just sort of like talk like that, like it's just fun.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's bad, but like I said, I probably saw about 3 or 4 people almost get hit by cars because people are like, flying out of there and skirting. I mean, like, where are you going, dude? You're in Abbott Road. You're skirting out all fast, and you're going like 20 feet. Like you're in traffic, bro. Relax, okay? It's over. But I don't want to take too much time on that. I just wanted to touch on that. I just don't understand why people do things that way. I mean, first of all, we all pay way too much money to go to these games.
Exactly.
And then you're gonna get a assault 3 charge. That's gonna be a court case. Then depending on what you do for a job, that may be more, or you may just get knocked out and catch the assault 3 case and get kicked out and get banned. So you just lost altogether and went viral. We see it all the time. I don't know. Just come on, people. We got to get together. Let's be nice. I mean, Bills Mafia. We are one of the best. I still think we are the best fan base in the league. But let's clean up that.
I think mafia, like the word mafia is a very active word there because it's like things are all good if you're on our side, but if you're within the family and you aren't, then
right, pretty much
hold your hand to the table and start breaking fingers.
Now, this is not to start an argument or debate because I'm not necessarily anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax. I'm just announcing news. If you have not heard today, the Bills announced that starting at the Washington game, You will have to be vaccinated to go. I know this messed a lot of people up, pissed a lot of people off as far as to vaccinate their season ticket holders go. Just passing information along. Not saying whether you agree or disagree, but that's the info. But I did see a couple of things I understand about how it happened with season tickets. You can get a refund, I believe, for your season tickets. But if you have seniority, whatever that means, I guess that means you lose. I've never owned season tickets, so I don't know what seniority means, but you do lose your seniority if you get a refund. So if someone wants to explain that in the chat, by all means, I've never had it, so I don't want to touch on it too much. But it's time for the last part of the second to last part of the show. Segment that I like to call Bad Takes. So this is where I take takes from all over social media, and we just see what people have to say. Now, last week I put the names on there. I will not be putting people's names on there because I don't want anybody trying to go find these people and attack them. So
before you sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, before you start them, you know what you should do is next time, because he has them occasionally, next time you bring EJ on here, put one of his takes on. It's so ridiculous.
I'm not gonna do it, man.
EJ
still picking himself off the ground from the Twitter drag at Jay White, man. But here we go. First bad take. You guys ready? Let's do it. First bad take. Allen got his big payday and looks like he don't give a bleep. Now put Mitch in. That was said all around. We are calling for Trubisky after week 1. Hey, come on.
I'm just gonna ignore the Trubisky part for a second, and it's like, what do you expect? What do you expect Josh to be like, jumping for joy after the team loses? Like, that's how all players look when they're losing. They're sort of down.
Sure.
Like,
sure. He sure didn't care getting pressured 28 times by 3 players on Sunday. He didn't care. I mean, if he really wanted to, he could have just Vontae Davis step out of there. How many times he got hit.
Yeah.
James?
I don't care. I'll forfeit how much he was guaranteed. I'll forfeit all that money. It's fine.
These people say. Now, the effort Josh Allen gives, the man put his body on the line after signing for $250+ million. I mean, this dude, that's the last person on this team I would say that don't care. I mean, that dude is out there running quarterback ISOs. I mean, he stand put in the pocket when people are falling at his legs. Dudes are hitting him. He's pushing them away, trying to complete the pass. Whoever this person is, shame on you. I mean, that's just straight emotions. They say you put Mitch in after Josh Allen had a pretty solid game. Come on now. That's just foolish.
All right.
You take it, guys. That's just take it. Y'all got
it. So bad take number 2. We got 3 of them tonight. Look like the Bills from 1999 to 2019. Penalties, bad play calls, and no QB presence. Terrible game. At no point has this team looked anything like one of those teams in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, or late 90s.
Also, they made the playoffs in 2017 and 2019, so I fail to see what their point is saying 1999 to 2019. So I'm like, did they look like the team from 2019? Yeah, sure, why not?
I don't know, man. I mean,
okay, let's pretend they forgot about that or for some reason.
Right.
Still, like, no.
Right. The team sure did look a lot like Trent Edwards' team or JP Lossman out there today. Bad take number 2. All right. So bad take number 3 and final take of the night. Drum roll, please. Glad I paid my mortgage this month instead of buying 4 tickets to this game.
Well,
that's not a bad take. That's just hilarious.
I mean, I think you should pay your mortgage.
Yeah, I think that's kind of important.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Seriously?
That's just legit.
Kind of
like I said, that's just legitimately funny. Like
right. I am generally glad that you chose to pay your mortgage too instead of going to the game. I think that if you have a mortgage and you come down, it comes down to, hey, I'm going to buy these game tickets. I'm going to pay the mortgage. for you and your family's sake, I hope that you do choose to pay your mortgage.
That would be wise.
But what if your
Okay.
landlord is a huge Bills fan and you pay for your mortgage with pay for your rent with Bills tickets?
If he's an angry landlord and he went to that game and so you're giving the landlord the tickets to go to the game
instead of the rent, yes. I'm kidding.
If
Obviously.
they lose, you're probably evicted. If you lose, you're probably. I'm assuming I could be
probably
wrong.
Yeah.
You're probably evicted.
Yeah.
I'm just it's just like I can't. Like, why would that? What possesses you to say something like that?
I don't know.
If you do it comes to a point where you do want to play the game, and this is not me. I am not advocating for this, but I'm going to drop a little knowledge. I'm not going to say it's illegal. I'm not going to say it's legal. I'm just saying you could call your mortgage lender and say, hey, the pandemic's kind of messing with my money. I've been laid off. I need to push the mortgage back to the last 3 months of the 3 months of mortgage back to the end of my loan. And you could use that money to go to the game. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I've done that. I would do it. I'm just saying if you're gonna choose to not pay your mortgage, at least use the loophole that is active for you currently. I'm just saying. Ray Cruz says he threatens that he can't be evicted. COVID enforced rule. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't get it, man. These people say crazy things. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know. The whole point is pay your mortgage, okay? Pay your mortgage before going to a game. But hey,
shelter is important.
Yes, Joe Sorsey got it. Forbearance. Yes.
But my shelter is Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Right. Well, you don't want to go. I mean, that stadium's on swampland. It gets pretty cold up. It's windy. But hey, guys, I want you to know next show. I don't know if it's going to be next Cold Firmer show or next show Sunday after the pros game because I was in Buffalo, so I wasn't able to do the post game show this week. At my residence here in Connecticut, we're going to be giving away this autographed Kyle Williams jersey, courtesy of Buffalo, www.buffaloautographs.com. So I'm going to be giving that away to a winner. Maybe we'll do a little trivia. I'll find a cool way to give it away. Give a little trivia. Then maybe we'll have a raffle after, a little round-off raffle, and give that away. But if you like to win this jersey and more items, make sure you guys keep tuning into the shows. But I want to thank my guys for coming in the locker room today. James Mallory and Evan Zinger. You guys brought some good knowledge, and I think we've had some fun tonight. And this is like the 4th episode of It's Nothing Personal, Just Bills. I'm getting used to this. It's fun. This was a fun show. My guy Ray Cruz, Joe Sorsey, Cody Wells, Lone Wolf, and the YouTube always checking in, man. Man, guy Backbone, Cindy, all my people that check in on me on Tuesday nights. I appreciate it. I should be back next week, Tuesday at 9:30 again. Hopefully with a better result. Hopefully we went and squished the fish and absolutely just crushed the Dolphins because we're all pissed that they lost. And hopefully we get Zack Moss back on the field without some weird deactivation. So hopefully we play the right numbers this week.
In his hometown.
Oh yeah. In his hometown, yeah. And if you guys have not caught it, make sure that you guys do the YouTube Moss Mode Show YouTube page. His interview with Josh Allen is up there. That's his first guest, and the producer you're looking at him. I'm the live producer of the show, so that's a great interview. Josh drops a lot of dimes. You're not going to miss that Moss Mode Show. So make sure you get over there. So shout out to my guy Zach, and yeah. Oh wait, you're right, Cody Wells. Cody Wells is right. He gave me a point. What's your nothing personal point of this week, JT? Okay, let's do it. Gotta do it. Cody. Damn, I love Cody. Cody, so he keeps me on track. Right. All right. So it is definitely time for my personal point of the week. And this week I think we're gonna focus on continuity. And I think that the move that we made this week with deactivating Zack Moss, surprisingly, rotating Cody Ford in the middle of a game with Ike Bodiger. Those are moves that I think can test your continuity. not moves that when you're going for a Super Bowl run that you want to have. There was no need to do that. There was no need to do either of those. If you thought Cody Ford was getting beat that bad, then you should have just took him completely out. You don't start rotating. And trust me, Cody Ford didn't look any worse than John Feliciano, Deion Dawkins, Darrell Williams, or any of the rest of them. They all look pretty bad and pretty sad. So don't point out Cody Ford like you did with Quentin Spain, because after you did with Quentin, we never saw him in a Bills jersey ever again. We probably never will. Not saying it was good, not saying it was bad, but I tell you what, Quentin Spain was better at pass. His best asset was pass blocking. And it seems Sunday, we really need that from the interior, because we know for a couple of years now that John Feliciano is a horrible pass blocker. We know this. As far as Zack Moss goes, this is the guy who has shown up to Buffalo since the day he got here, brought his hard hat, and went to work. I think he fractured his ankle in that playoff game last year, and he came back and he rehabbed to the point he was ready to go for the season. And if you don't know anything, he rehabbed hard. And I don't know how many people know about how the rehab process is, but when you have to rehab in the offseason, you go into the offseason injured, you're not really allowed to go home back to your home state or your home city. You have to stay in the city and stay in the city and rehab. So yes, he spent the entire summer in Buffalo rehabbing, riding bikes, and getting better. But to do that, it was uncalled for. There was no need for it. So don't tell me it's numbers, because I'm pretty sure you could have called somebody else a number who's not going to be that important down the line. And I'm not saying that everybody on this, all 53 are not important, but I can tell you there was a lot of people in that playing that game that will not be as important as Zack Moss when the wind is blowing and the snow is coming in November and December. Because you know what? People remember things. So Coach McDermott, please stop doing it, because it's never worked out in your favor before when you've made this decision. Quentin Spain, Isaiah McKenzie, Trent Murphy that year with Brian Cox Jr. has never worked in your favor. You don't see good teams do this. You don't see Pittsburgh make rash decisions deactivating people, or the Ravens make random decisions deactivating people, or Green Bay making decisions to deactivate people. They simply just don't do it. They stick with their guys. So let's keep that one Buffalo mantra. Let's not out-coach ourselves. Let's not get cute. It's like I said, stick with your guys. Let's move forward. But hey, week 2 is up on us. I got to feel like the Bills are going to bounce back, and they're going to bounce back hard. I don't think the rest of the AFC East is that good. Patriots dropped one in Miami last week. The Jets are the Jets. They're Jetson already. And I think that the Miami don't have confidence to it. So this is the time for us to come back and get our season back. But hey, guys, great show. I want to thank my guys for coming in the locker room today, James Mallory, Evan Zinger. And I'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Actually, I'll catch you last Sunday probably for the post-game show. Stay tuned. Late Sleeve is going live with the Friday Night Forecast. I think, Evan, you might be on there this Friday.
Yeah, with me as well.
James, you'll probably catch James on the post-game show Sunday if he can do it. And James, what you guys got with the vets this week? Who you guys got?
We got Niagara Falls this week, Saturday. If everybody in Buffalo, if you're free, want a great football environment, want to get a little pre-Bills football, come watch our Buffalo Vets guys. We got our 5 to 7-year-olds playing at 1:30. We got our 8 and 9-year-olds playing at 3, 10 and 11-year-olds playing at 5, and then the 12 to 14-year-olds playing at 7 p.m. on Saturday at Manhattan Park in Buffalo, New York. So come on down and watch Buffalo Vets versus Niagara Falls. Come to the concession stand. My mom runs the concession stand. She always do a good job in there. And
the Hut.
The Hut. Come to
the Hut.
And,
I tried to get some the other day, man. The line was too long, but it was cool to get out of there. But hey, once again, I want to thank everybody who came out for the Mafia Homecoming, second annual Mafia Homecoming party. Shout out to Dan Gambino and all the people who came out. Stay tuned for more from the Cold Front Report. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. We out.